Hey, Ramon, it's that time of year. The ANC are doing policy again. You know that policy? We tried it once, didn't work. Tried it twice, didn't work. You know what we'll do? Try it a third time. Third time's the luck. What do you think of it? You've read the policy
That's
docs?
right. So it's the ANC policy conference this week end, I believe. Last time they wanted to nationalize the state bank, take away farmland from people, and various other things which they didn't manage to do. But of course, it doesn't stop them from doing what they want to do. So they got new policy papers now, and they are just.
Same.
It's just great.
They're
It's
the same. They're literally the same.
No, they're better. In fact, they are better. So, for example, they do say in the policy papers that, bailouts for state-owned entities cannot continue, but some of these entities may need to be scaled back or dissolved or shut down. But these public workers can't be seen to join the 40% of South Africans who are unemployed. So, therefore, one suggestion from the ANC that the state employees should be assisted with seed capital to support their own small, medium, and micro enterprises. Okay, so you want people who've been in the public sector doing forecourt for years, earning lots of money, you want them to start their own businesses now because you can't actually afford to give them on as employees. And not just anyone funding them, the ANC, the government, the taxpayers of this country, giving seed capital to civil servants. The essential element of a civil servant, Byron, is that you can't make it in the private sector. That is the whole point of being a civil servant. So now, I mean, that is one of the great recommendations by the ANC. What do you think of that, Byron? As a businessman yourself, I mean, seed capital is very important, I suppose.
Right, there's a couple of things that we need to start addressing on this. Number one, the government says they're going to fund it with government money. Let's just be clear. And I think it's every single person on this channel needs to start reminding the government of. The government has no money. It is impossible to have government money. The government has our money. Our money is taxpayer money. Our money. So when they say we're going to give it to people in the private sectors, they're going to give government money, what they actually mean is they're giving your money. They're giving my money. They're giving our money. Our taxes are going through to these AHC cadres, because that's basically what they're going to be, right?
Indeed.
And they're all going to go there to fund them to make private sector something or other. I don't know. But they're like, these are guys. The best part about this discussion paper says we need a good developmental state that can help foster and create jobs. But it can't be the SEOs, but it must be the SEOs. Okay, well, it can't all, I don't know. Okay, so they are confused. They say it can't be the SEOs, but it must be the SEOs. But the SEOs are bankrupt, and they say that. So they go, but that's okay. We can solve that. We'll give them money, and they'll start up what? A spaza shop? Like, what are these guys going to do?
Micro enterprise. It's also pretty smart because the civil wage bill is one of the biggest line items in the budget for South Africa. So this is another way to reduce the civil wage bill, but still pay out exactly the same amount of money to people that ostensibly are civil servants, but they are private civil servants now. So there's another way to sort of pillage the state, to create a shitload of connected cadres, essentially, with the money from the state in the first place to start their criminal activities with. It's pretty genius.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it anything the ANC does genius, but... So let's go on to the next policy. The next policy is expropriation without compensation. No one's heard this one before. Prescribed assets, nobody's heard that one. More BEE transformation, there's lots of that. They say that they really need to accelerate the rate of transformation in this country. And that gets me every time. Part of this policy paper says we cannot create jobs because the environment for creating jobs sucks. And nobody wants to invest money here. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to make it suck worse. And that will create jobs. Like, are you guys mindlessly stupid? Like, I'm sure you have some really high paid, some really good policy advisors there somewhere in government telling you what to do. Do you just go, I'm not listening to that one. That one's stupid. Like, what are you thinking? I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, that is ridiculous enough, but I think let's go to my absolute favorite ones. I mean, the micro enterprises one is very good, but how about the building of various large scale heritage monuments devoted to memorializing the liberation struggle?
Yeah,
That's a great one.
what they mean there is they want a Leninist type infrastructure where we have like coffins for the fallen Lenin and Stalin, and we have these big memorials of the people's struggle, and basically they just want ANC propaganda like places, don't they?
Yes. No, once again, I mean, listen, I mean, they renamed all the airports after the ANC guys, and now they just want, they tore down Cecil John Rose statues, and in the place they'll put Jacob Zuma or someone else. I'm not too sure. But my absolute favorite one, there is need for a national space policy. Yes, like the space above South Africa, like outer space. We need a policy as South Africa around.
They want a South
to
African
space.
NASA. That's what they want. They want a South African NASA because they've read
fine.
somewhere that
fine, right?
apparently China has one. And
And
if you actually read half this policy, it's like I think the Chinese wrote it because it's like it's
Yeah.
a policy document that would apply very well to China, which actually comes on to the last point, which was my personal favorite, which is basically they say, the ANC is getting a lot of hard times at the moment. Like everybody's criticizing it for everything it does. It's trying its best to do the best for the people, and nobody takes it seriously. And they're all just moaning at it. And look at all these politician parties. They're all clubbing together like a mafia just to kick us out. You know, it would be really good. Let's have like a one-party state, and we'll run everything because like we're morally good. Yes, the policy document actually says this bullshit. They are apparently the good guys, and
Yep.
they can't allow anybody else to force them out because, like, then there'd be the evil guys there, and Jan would come back or something. So it's like, yeah, the best way to solve that is let's get rid of like all the multi-party coalitions, and for our democracy, we will install a one-party dictatorship. That's the way we protect our constitution and our democracy. This is genuinely what their bloody policy document says. It's so bankrupt. It's like, man, I don't know.
I don't know why anyone is severely surprised by this. The ANC has always had a sort of dictatorial one-party state ambition for South Africa, especially with the South African Communist Party and the ANC in tandem, ruling the state forever and ever and ever until Jesus comes back. And the person who wrote this story on Daily Maverick is Rebecca Davis, who's one of these awful libs that, white woman lib that, the biggest problem for her is her own white skin. She wishes she could peel it off. She actually did say that in an interview once. And throughout this entire article of ANC policy, she's like, it seems like the ANC wants a one-party state, and this is something that's very bad, and we should look out for it. I'm like, listen, woman, we've been saying this for how many years? 30 years, right? All the people that you called racist, all the people that you called whoever what for the past 30 years have been on this tangent because they understand the history of the ANC like we do. You don't. And now it's taken you 30 years to read one policy document. There's been, by the way, 6, 7, 8 policy conferences over the past 30 years. Read any of them, and then this would already be quite obvious that the ANC wants a one-party state. And they want it again now through these policy proposals, like having a space policy, because that's very important to them. But most importantly, like for a lib journalist to not really understand that the ANC is a one-party mindset kind of governing party, it just shows everything you need to know about the journalistic class of South Africa. They just have absolutely no idea and no clue about the inherent ideology of the ANC.
Nope. 100% correct. And all they're going to do is they're going to sit there and tell you all about how majestic everybody is whilst they absolutely screwing up the place and the place burns down all around them because, apparently that's all it takes to be majestic these days. But no, it's just another libtard writing a stupid article. And, we've said this before, and this is really, the crux of the matter. These libtards will be the first to jump on an airplane and immigrate to Australia when the shit hits the fan. And then they'll all sit there going, oh, we don't know why South Africa's in the mess it's in. And, it all just seems so good. And you're like, you guys propped up the regime for how long, and you bought into this bankrupt rubbish, and you sold it, you repackaged it to people and sold it as being transformative and it's brilliant and it's lovely and rainbows and pixies. You sold this bullcrap to South Africa. It's like the whole Jacob Zuma stuff. Everybody's going, oh, the lost 8 years and we had this go wrong and that go wrong and all the money. But whilst Jacob Zuma was out there pillaging the state, what did everybody have to say? ANC's majestic and transformation and isn't it great? And then it's like, and now they're going to sit there writing about, oh, Jacob Zuma was so bad. Like, people immigrated. And you're like, you propped up the regime, buddy. So take the own, put your back to the firing squad wall and take the first bullet. Because you caused this nightmare. And now that you've seen the nightmare come home to roost, you know, it's like when the South African Communist Party did their whole kind of conference. All I saw for day on end was fucking libtard journalists going, oh, the South African Communist Party needs to be more present in the minds of South Africans. And aren't they great? And they've got all these great ideas. You're like, they fucking dirty commies, you morons. Do you know what that means? That means they want to steal all your shit. They want a one-party state. They want to have control over you. Because it's like, you know, I heard this great critique of Karl Marx once. And it's important to note. Marxism's great because it levels the playing field for everybody. But here's the problem. It doesn't pull everybody up. It pulls everybody down, which means that some parties have to be stamped on and they need to be repressed. So whilst you're freeing some people, you are repressing a class of people. And the other thing about tyrants and tyrannical governments is once they get their hand on the ability to tyrannize, they don't give it back. They don't give, and you need to have that boot that stamps on everybody. That boot always creates an elite class. That is what you're advocating for. And then when the elite class tramples on you and puts you in the gulags, you go, I don't know how it happened. Who knew it was going to happen? I thought I was going to be like writing poetry and singing kumbayas. Like, you guys created this nightmare. Own it. Live it. Accept it. You did it. You did it.
Yeah, and you called us racist for saying what it actually is. But, I mean, despite all that and the moronic journalist class, Byron, what are the chances of the ANC actually having any of these policies actually materialize in real life? Somewhere between 0 and 4 call, I would suspect.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know about you, man, but I know we talked about this beforehand and we were like, you read this and you laughed. I read this and I went shooting because I had to blow something up. Like, I was livid at reading this because it's like the contempt at which these people talk about us. The contempt, and you're like, how are some people buying into this? The contempt is so bad. Oh, we're just going to give like government money. Government don't have money. It's my fucking money. You're giving my money. It's like when Cyril did that speech last week. Oh, we created 1,000 new industrialists with 44 billion of government money. No, mate, you took 44 billion of our money, the country's money, taxpayers' money, and you redistributed it to ANC cronies, and you gave it to 900 people. And it's like, if you take 44 billion, divided by 1,000, you made all of them millionaires. And he's like, we made 1,000 millionaires. Of course you did, because you gave them a load of fucking money. But what did we get for it? Because I don't see any new factories. I don't see any new made in South Africa logos. I don't see any new like revolutionary changes. So wait
a minute, Byron. Sorry. There was a factory in your side of the world. They wanted to make smartphones,
and it went bust.
Why are you giving away my story? Come now, it's my turn. But anyway, they spent R1 billion on like creating smartphones, and then like after 2 years, it went bust. Like, I remember when Cyril opened that factory. It was very, very good. But anyway, this video is getting along. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, once again, the ANC policy documents are out for you to read. And don't be like Byron. Don't be angry. Because you can't be angry with people like you don't know any better. It's like being angry with a small puppy. Like, it is going to wee and it is going to poo everywhere. Like, you can't be angry with it. You just need to accept it. And that's why you must laugh at the ANC and laugh at their policy documents. That's my recommendation, at least.
All I can say is if you want to support an actual company that supported itself and created itself without having the need of cater money, try Boer Cola. Check it out. Now, that's a proper company that started during lockdown in the worst scenarios with no government handouts. And yeah, here it is. I'm drinking the cola. It's great, man. Like, and this is not a paid sponsorship. Wood Cola, we know you're watching. Right? It's not a paid sponsorship. So, like, you know, it can be done. But you know how it gets done? Without the fucking commie bastards telling you what you can and can't do. So all I can say is, fucking rotten hell, you commie pieces of shit. And that's the end of it from me.
Oh gosh, this is going to be demonetized. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.